What's going on YouTube? Zapp here, and welcome to episode 10 of the Zapp Talk series. We are fresh off the heels of Top of the Food Chain, and just this weekend we are going to be going straight into Civil War, which is a tournament taking place in Richmond, which is only about 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours away from where I'm at, but unfortunately I will not be attending it. Um, so make sure you guys tune in this weekend. I believe Team Spooky is going to be streaming it. So Friday evening and Saturday and Sunday, make sure you tune in to watch Civil War live. I will be in attendance for Civil War as a stream monster. So, yeah, join the chat with me and enjoy some great quality Injustice and Super Street Fighter 4. I don't really care about any of the other games, but yeah, just tune in and watch those games get played. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and answer some of these questions. Um, this first one comes from Illyrian Horizon, and he asks, what was your most disappointing game moment and/or experience? Um, it's kind of hard to say because I can't really remember a lot of moments from way back when, like right off the bat. But I would say, as far as recent memory goes, I'd say my most disappointing experience, as far as gaming, has probably been Killzone Shadowfall, both single player and multiplayer. The single player was insanely boring. Um, I feel like I was just playing it just to get through it, not because I actually wanted to, not because I was actually enjoying the game, but I just wanted to get through it just to say that okay, I beat the single player for Killzone, and then the multiplayer just, although it's probably the most balanced Killzone game as far as multiplayer goes, it just was, it just didn't keep my interest for very long, and it just kind of fizzled out. That and the online community is relatively like it's kind of a ghost town on online. You know, you got like maybe close to 1,000 people playing it all at once. But when you consider how many people actually bought Killzone Shadowfall, that's really terrible numbers, especially for a game that hasn't even been out for like 6 months. That's well, actually, it has been about 6 months. So yeah, it's still not very good at all. So yeah, I'd say Killzone Shadowfall definitely. This next question comes from David Lewis, and he asks, "Hey Zach, do you think that you maxed your Raven to the fullest, or do you think you could still learn more with the character?" As far as Raven goes, I always feel like I could learn more, and I am actually learning more as time progresses. So, nah, I think as you encounter more and more, you know, hardy competition in online fighting games, you're always going to find out new things that you can use with your character to benefit you in the long run. You know, so yeah, I still have a lot of work to do with Raven, so she is not maxed out as far as I go. Um, this one comes from Ray James. He asks, if you could design a game, what would it be like, and what happened to Dead Space 3? Well, Dead Space 3, I stopped playing Dead Space 3 because nobody was watching the playthrough, so I stopped it, and it sucks because I was actually at the end of Dead Space 3, but people just weren't watching it. It wasn't really getting the reception, and I base my uploads off of the viewership. You know, if no one's going to be watching a game or giving it any sort of attention, then I just don't upload it. You know, so that's what happened with that. Plus, I lost interest in my Xbox anyway, and that's what the console that I was playing it on. So yeah. But I actually answered your first question before. As far as what kind of game would I design, I would definitely design a survival horror game to the fullest. This one comes from that cool dude. He asks, "What's your favorite game producer?" I assume you mean game developer. My favorite game developer is Naughty Dog. Definitely because I love Crash Bandicoot. Huge fan of The Last of Us and the Uncharted series. So Naughty Dog does some really amazing work visually, gameplay, and storytelling. All goes into their games very well. If it wasn't for Naughty Dog, I'd probably say Sonic Team because I'm a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fanboy. This one comes from Pretty Boy KMT. He says, out of all the shooters you've personally played, which had the most impactful slash solid character development? His example was one that was well scripted and believable. Um, I would say The Last of Us. I don't know. It is, and it's weird because the whole, oh, there's a zombie epidemic going on, or there's an infection going on, and this one child, this one person could potentially be the cure. That type of storyline has been done so many times before. So you would think that The Last of Us is like, oh my god, this is so cliche now, but the way that Naughty Dog did it, and they told the story, and how you gradually become more and more attached to these characters, actually worked very well with the game. You know, all these different characters uh, coming in just made the game a lot better as it progressed. So yeah, I say The Last of Us. This one comes from Card969. This is an interesting question, right? He says, "Don't know if you answered this yet, but what is your honest opinion of Titanfall, and do you recommend it to others?" My honest opinion of Titanfall is, I am aware that the game is built not only just for casual play, but just it's a bare bones gaming experience, right? There's no little tricks or nuances to the gameplay mechanics other than you can jump on walls and there's a whole parkour element to it. But other than that, the game is relatively bare bones. It is the COD 4 of this shooting generation. But with that being said, with it being such a bare bones game and not having anything else to it, I don't really condone it being $60. Without a really like legit campaign mode or various multiplayer modes, I don't see why the game was $60 out the box. Um, but while I don't hate Titanfall, I do think it is a big jip, and I think that Microsoft definitely pulled one over on a lot of the Xbox One owners who purchased the Xbox One for Titanfall, because the 360 version of Titanfall is absolutely the same game as the Xbox One version. The only difference is that the graphics are a little bit, you know, downscaled on the 360 version, whereas the Xbox One version is, slightly upscaled. But other than that, the 360 version is probably the the one that you should get if you already have a 360. I don't see any reason to buy an Xbox One to get Titanfall when you can just get it on 360. Same thing goes if you have a PC that can run Titanfall, which I think most of you should because it doesn't take much to run it. Then just get it on the PC. But I don't like the fact that it's $60. You know, I plan on getting Titanfall eventually, just not for $60. That's just, you're not raping me in my ass cheeks. Mm-mm. This one comes from Renee Vargas. He asks, "Yo Zapp, will you be getting Watch Dogs? And if you aren't, why not?" Um, I probably will get Watch Dogs. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really bought any games as of late. I've been downloading stuff on Steam for free. I got, Hawken, and I got Path of Exile. So I already have games that I want to play. So I don't really feel the need to go out and spend money on any more games that I'm probably not even going to get around to playing. So with that being said, Watch Dogs does look interesting, but I'm not really in a rush to get it. So eventually, I will get Watch Dogs. I probably won't get Watch Dogs until after all the hype for the game after its release has already died down. So yeah. Um, this next one comes from Kyle Blazer. He asks, "Seeing as though WrestleMania is around the corner, which it already passed by the way, what are your predictions for the overall card?" Most of my predictions were right on the money. I had a feeling AJ Lee was going to retain the Divas Championship. I had a feeling that I didn't know about Cesaro winning the Battle Royal though, and nobody had a clue that the Undertaker was going to lose to Brock Lesnar. So yeah, most of my predictions were actually right, with the exception of a couple. But I actually enjoyed WrestleMania. WrestleMania was really good, and I'm even more happy because I didn't have to pay for it. So yeah, I got a great pay-per-view and I didn't have to pay for it. Um, this next one comes from Black Chapters, and this is kind of funny. I think he's trolling, but he asks, "What's your opinion on DSP?" DSP is something different. He is a I don't know, man. That guy. I'm not bitter about the fact because I was banned in his chat. I don't think he personally banned me. I think it was just one of his mods. But DSP is definitely old news as far as gaming uploaders. Like he's just too old school. And to a certain extent, I'm a little too old school too. Like I'm not really trying anything too different from that I did in 2008, 2009. So, but DSP is something totally different. He's a different breed. Let's just say that. Flaming Dragon Punch asks, "Do you like Game of Thrones? Why or why not?" I have no interest in Game of Thrones. I don't care. I don't really watch TV, so it's whatever. Um, Jello303 asks, which games do you think have the best blood and gore effects? It's definitely the Unreal Tournament games, um, as well as Gears of War 1. Those games had the best blood and gore effects. And this final question comes from Brian 1986D. He asks, who's a better hero from the Walking Dead franchise, Lee Everett or Rick Grimes? And who's the better villain, Negan or the Governor? I have to answer this without giving away anything. No spoilers, but as far as heroes goes, I have to say Rick Grimes just because of everything that he's been through. You know, you don't really get to see too much of Lee Everett, so you don't know how he would have handled things if he was in Rick's situation, but I have to go with Rick Grimes. And as far as villains goes, I would say Negan is probably more interesting than the Governor, but the Governor is just more of a scumbag in my opinion. Way more of a scumbag. Just dirty old sumbitch. So I will go with the Governor. But that is going to do it for episode 10 of the Zapp Talk series. If you have any questions that you would like for me to answer in episode 11, feel free to leave it in the comments section of this video and I will try and get to it. But once again, thank you guys for watching and I will see you next time. Peace.